What is going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and before I get started with today's video, I wanted to announce a new contest that we're doing, but first, let me get into character. Are you a Steven Universe fan? Well, statistically, you probably are. Do you make fan art of the Steven Universe variety? Less likely, but I'm sure there are plenty of you. Do you want a chance to win an Amazon gift card? I don't know your life like that, but it's free stuff, so why not? Then you should enter our fan art contest on Steven Universe Amino. Steven Universe Amino is a community app where you can post all types of Steven Universe related things with other Steven Universe fans. It's like a subreddit, but cooler. Just download the Steven Universe Amino app, make an account, push your art as a blog, and use the hashtag Cartoon Universe. Contest will end Monday, October 17th, so that's 1 week from the time of uploading this video. Get your submissions in right now. Well, not now. Just finish the video first. But it can be of anything Steven Universe related. Just, keep it PG, please. Our favorite piece of art will win the Amazon gift card. If you're having trouble finding the app, check it out in the description below. Anywho, guys, wanted to talk a little bit about our favorite 12 and 3/4-year-old swordswoman, swordsgirl, whatever, Connie. What's in store for her future? Since season 1, we've seen Connie grow from a quiet, reserved, lonely bookworm to an outgoing, adventurous warrior. Well, believe it or not, we may have been given a small hint that Connie would end up taking this path dating all the way back to Gem Glow. And what's more is that there's a possibility that we could gather what her future entails right now. Remember, this is Steven Universe we're talking about. We've had hints and foreshadowing thrown at us that we didn't even realize were hints and foreshadowing until after the fact. So it stands to reason that it's more than possible that we've been given hints about Connie's character through one of the things she loves the most, books. Okay, before we get started, it should be noted that this video will be borrowing some information from some Tumblr posts that I found, so go check them out in the description below. Anywho, let's dive in. So yeah, I mentioned that the Crewniverse has essentially been hinting at Connie's story since the very first episode. Well, it technically wasn't in the first episode, but it was in the original intro. We see Connie in her dress and sun hat and whatnot, and she's holding a book. Whatever, no big deal, right? Well, what book is she holding? Well, if you look closely, it's clearly a book called A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline Lienge. Lienge, I guess. Why do I always get names I can't pronounce in my videos? Honestly. Anyway, yeah, it's a book called Wrinkle in Time. Okay, that's cool. Guess Rebecca Sugar's a fan of it. Nice little Easter egg. But, wait a second. What is this book about, exactly? Well, according to the internet, aka the Tumblr post I'm reading this from because I've never actually heard of this novel, it's about a shy bookworm of a girl who teams up with a boy she has a crush on, as well as 3 cosmic beings who have taken on the form of human women. Yeah. Sounds pretty familiar, right? But wait, they also have to rescue the girl's father, who is being held prisoner on an alien planet where conformity is valued above all else. Well, that hasn't happened. Yet. So we know that the alien planet that values conformity, obviously, is Homeworld. But rescue her father? Who would kidnap Connie's father? Well, let's look at this interesting line.
She goes on this quest to find her father after he's kidnapped by a mysterious one-eyed man.
Mysterious one-eyed man. I think we know one of those. Eyeball. Okay, so Eyeball isn't a man per se, but you get the idea. Like I said, Connie's books could be hinting towards future events as well. Could it be that Eyeball actually ends up kidnapping Mr. Maheshwaran? Maybe. Personally, I don't see why or even how this would happen. Connie's parents have been mostly staying out of gem business, so I'm not sure why any of the Homeworld gems would pick Connie's father to kidnap above anyone else. Maybe her parents come to Beach City for some sort of dinner or something with Steven's family, and Eyeball just shows up and picks a random human to capture to lure them to Homeworld. That's a possibility. However, I think it's more likely that Greg ends up being the one that gets captured, since he's more of a relevant character, meaning that the audience will have more invested interest if he ends up getting kidnapped, and he also has a direct connection to Rose Quartz, so if Eyeball somehow found this out, it would make sense for her to want him captured. And hey, Greg has been somewhat of an extra father figure to Connie anyway, so the foreshadowings don't have to be exact. Speaking of foreshadowings, what else can we gather about Connie from her novels? Well, let's look at Unfamiliar Familiar. What does Connie have to say about this book?
It's about this girl named Lisa, and she's a witch. I mean, she doesn't know she's a witch at first.
A girl that doesn't know she's a witch. A girl that doesn't know about her magical powers. Someone Connie even dresses as. Could it be that Connie is a descendant of a gem? Okay, so obviously this one is a stretch, and I wouldn't exactly say I buy into this theory, but let's see if we can gather anything from it anyway. Bear with me. Alright, so let's entertain for just a moment that Connie is actually a descendant of a gem. It technically could happen, maybe technically. We are taught from the beginning of the series that Steven is a completely unique being. Nobody like him has ever existed in the history of the universe, but somehow Rose knew that they couldn't both exist. Why would she know this if this has never happened before? Well, I mean, she really could have, because if you have a basic understanding of how gem reproduction works and how human reproduction works using deductive reasoning, and you have a male human, you can deduce these things with enough information. But it is possibly, highly unlikely, but possible, that Rose somehow knew about some other type of gem-human hybrid that has existed once before, and this is one of many secrets she kept from the crystal gems. Okay, that's pretty weak. Okay, but wait, how can Connie fuse with Steven? She's a human, right? I mean, Garnet said you need a gem at the core of your being so that your body can turn into light. Well, Connie doesn't have a gem at the core of her being. Connie can't turn her body into light. So how can they make Stefani? Well, I mean, technically, Steven can't really turn his body into light either, and he is half human, which would explain why they confused with both gems and humans, because he's a completely new kind of being, which would explain why Garnet gave that information, because as far as she and everyone else was concerned, that was the only possible way you could fuse, and they still don't really understand Steven. Well, but like, it's still weird, right? Okay, hold on. I need something more solid than this. Wait a minute. How can Connie carry that sword? Isn't that a gem sword for like super strong gems? How can a teeny tiny scrawny 12-year-old girl carry that sword with one hand? Okay, you could say that her mom was able to carry it just fine, and while I'm sure her mother is stronger than Connie, maybe, I don't even actually know how true that is, it doesn't seem like humans are incapable of wielding the sword, and to be fair, Connie has been training for a while, but let's be real, it's a little weird. It's a little bit weird that she can carry this thing with one hand, no problem. Alright, so these arguments are a bit weak, but let's just put them all together for a second. She can fuse and wield a giant sword with one hand. A little strange, so what about the evidence pointing toward her having gem ancestors? Well, this gem in Blue Diamond's court sort of looks like Connie, I guess, and this Blue Diamond's profile sort of looks like Connie's profile. And we can see that Connie throughout the series so far has worn almost exclusively some sort of blue or teal, if you will. So that could be a thing, maybe. Okay, so clearly I don't think the whole gem ancestor thing is holding up too well, although it is possible, but I still think Connie has some sort of latent magical abilities that she's not aware of. But how would this be, assuming she doesn't have a gem ancestor of some kind? Well, how about the episode An Indirect Kiss? Her bad eyesight is cured when she drank out of the same juice box as Steven, thanks to his healing spit. So this means Connie technically ingested part of Steven. This means Steven's magic may still live inside her. But big whoop, right? Maybe she'll live disease-free now or something. No gingivitis, woohoo. Well, no. What if the reason Connie becomes so sick with the sword is because Steven essentially passed on his super strength to her, and potentially even his ability to fuse, since those rules have become a bit muddy. When else have we seen a gem's abilities get passed on to someone else? Well, Garnet's done it 3 times already, passing on her future vision to Steven by kissing his forehead. While these all had temporary effects, Connie ingested the magic of a gem. Could this mean its effects are permanent, or at the very least more permanent? It could be, and I think this is a much more plausible theory than her having a distant gem ancestor. So what else is there to gather from Connie's books? Well, let's hear what she has to say in Open Book.
Lisa and her talking falcon, rebels challenging the stifling traditions of the magical bureaucracy, then her falcon turns into a human and they get married?
Rebels fighting the magical bureaucracy? Sounds very familiar once again. Clearly being self-referential. But there's another interesting tidbit in there that may hint at Connie's future, as well as Steven's. Connie mentions that the main character, Lisa, has a talking falcon. At the end, the falcon turns into a human, and they end up getting married. Well, if Lisa is technically representing Connie, and she marries the falcon, then it stands to reason that the Falcon represents Steven, since Connie is Steven's love interest. So I think this means that Steven ends up turning into a full-fledged, non-gem human at the end of the series. And this is something that has been hinted at for a while, and something that we have even discussed like a little over a year ago. If you notice, whenever Connie and Greg have their little human beings moments, it is clear that Steven feels left out in some sort of way. He doesn't know how to feel about his magical side. Looking back at Chillyteed, in his dream he sees all of the crystal gems as humans, which could indicate that his subconscious is telling him that he wants to live a normal, more straightforward life. And this even shows in his character. It's clear that he doesn't want to have to hold the burden of his mother's past. It's clear that he just wants to be a kid and enjoy life. And he's even shown to have a frustration with all of his quote-unquote stupid powers. I think with the Destiny's End ending, as well as all of the things I've mentioned, it's fair to say that a big part of Steven wishes he could just be a regular human. And once his business with Homeworld is finally finished, he may stumble upon a way to be fully human and grow old with Connie just like she wanted. But that about wraps it up for this video. What do you guys think? Are Connie's books foreshadowing future events? Which of these theories do you think is accurate? Got one of your own? Let us know in the comments down below. Again, make sure to check out Steven Universe Amino to enter the fan art contest that's going to last until October 17th, where we'll announce the winners. And make sure to check out the Tumblr post in the description below, where I got some of this info for this video. And big shout out to our Patreon supporters. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. If you want some dope rewards and want to help us make new and more intricate types of content, please consider donating to our Patreon in the link below or at the end of the video. But anyways, guys, I've been Michael Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.